Happy almost New Year, loves of my life. It has been the most amazing year ever for LGBTQ people, so let's get right into it, shall we? Where do we start? Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. Now, this was a record-breaking year for marriage equality. Maybe the biggest news of the year is that the Supreme Court struck down the provision of DOMA that banned federal recognition of same-sex couples. So while that didn't exactly legalize marriage equality nationwide, it means that married same-sex couples will now be recognized equally for things like taxes and military benefits and health insurance and hospital visitation and things like that. Oh, and that whole thing about your love for somebody else being treated equally as someone else's, there's that too. As for states, the Supreme Court also struck down Prop 8, which reinstated marriage equality in California. We also saw marriage victories in Illinois, Hawaii, New Jersey, Delaware, Rhode Island, New Mexico, kind of Utah, but that's still up in the air. Is that it? Did I miss one? Illinois, Hawaii, Minnesota. Minnesota's the other one. Illinois, Hawaii, Minnesota, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Delaware. I'm counting too many. Wow, this is like the best problem to have. Illinois, Hawaii, Minnesota, Delaware, Rhode Island, New Jersey, New Mexico, Utah. Ha, you did it. We actually doubled the number of states where marriage equality is legal. Like, wow. The Senate passed ENDA, the bill that would make it illegal to discriminate against employees on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. On the other hand, President Obama missed the opportunity to sign an executive order that would have banned this kind of discrimination. And considering the bill hasn't even come close to going to the House, we've got a long way to go on this one. Congress also reauthorized an LGBT-inclusive version of the Violence Against Women Act, which means that there will now be protections extended to LGBT victims of domestic violence, so props to that. Exodus International, this massive organization committed to ex-gay therapy, also known as reparative therapy or conversion therapy, actually shut its doors after their director admitted that the work they were doing was harmful, which is something we all knew already. California and New Jersey both passed laws banning ex-gay therapy for minors, which means that LGBT kids can't be forced by their parents to go to therapy to try to turn them straight, and a bunch more states introduced bills that would do the same. California also passed this landmark law on behalf of transgender students, saying they can now use the gendered facilities of their choice at school. And what that means is that in terms of bathrooms, sports teams, locker rooms, things like that, students can now use the one that corresponds with the gender they identify with, the correct gender, as opposed to the one that's listed on their birth certificate. Similarly, we all fell in love with Coy Mathis, this adorable 6-year-old trans girl whose family sued her school district after they wouldn't let her use the girls' bathroom at school, and she won. So that was awesome. On the flip side, conservative groups are freaking out about this and are making up stories that trans students are harassing cis students in the bathroom, which is all complete BS, and it's something that we have to work on going into the new year because it's just gross. After lots of controversy, the Boy Scouts of America finally lifted their ban on gay scouts, but they have not lifted the ban on LGBT adults working within the organization, so there's a lot of work left to do there. A bunch of super cool people came out. Jason Collins became the first openly gay male pro athlete. Brittany Griner totally owned college women's basketball and did it all while being out and proud. Chelsea Manning came out as trans and forced the media and the entire world to learn about correct pronouns. Is it really that hard? A lot of other really cool people came out. Tom Daly, Crystal Bowersox, Fallon Fox, Darren Young, Victor Garber, Maria Bello, a bunch more that I'm forgetting. And a lot of them didn't use labels when they came out. They didn't say I'm gay or I'm bi, they said I'm dating a girl right now or I'm dating a guy right now. And that was really, really exciting, even though it confused the media a whole bunch. Speaking of Chelsea Manning, this year was a huge one for trans visibility in general. I already mentioned Fallon Fox and California's trans-inclusive law, but we also saw a trans girl be crowned homecoming queen at her high school in California. We saw Laverne Cox kicking butt and taking names in Orange is the New Black. Ongoing conversations about the future of trans service in the military, and really those conversations just keep growing, so the momentum for that is really strong. We talked about Russia a lot this year after they passed the anti-gay propaganda law, which bans promoting homosexuality and talking about homosexuality and basically doing anything at all to imply that you're gay. On top of that, the Winter Olympics are going to be in Sochi in a couple of months, and there's a whole lot of controversy about what that means for gay athletes, so that's a really big to be continued. Things are still scary in other parts of the world too, like Uganda, where you can now face life in prison for being gay, or Jamaica, where anti-gay hate crimes are still rampant, or India, where gay sex is now officially criminalized. So we have a lot of work to do. But some good stuff happened abroad too. We saw marriage victories in France and New Zealand and parts of the UK and parts of Mexico and Brazil and Uruguay and probably other places that I'm forgetting too. We saw third gender options on some official documents in Australia and Germany, as well as an anti-LGBT bullying bill that passed in Ireland. We got a new pope, his name is Francis, and he is way cooler than previous popes when it comes to his feelings on LGBT people. That's not to say he actually supports homosexuality or same-sex marriage, but he at least told his fellow Catholics not to judge gay people, and that's a start, right? Well, not necessarily, because this year a whole lot of Catholic and Christian teachers got fired from their jobs, especially at private schools, just because they're LGBT. But in a lot of cases, the students got really mad and really vocal about it and staged walkouts and protests in response, and that's always really cool to see. That's all the stuff I can remember for now, but I'm sure I've forgotten something, so please leave your favorite moment of 2013 in the comments below. I've also linked below to some of my favorite year in review roundup posts from other publications, so make sure you check those out. Thanks so much for helping to make this an amazing year. Here's to even more progress in 2014, and I'll see you next year.